Today is a huge day at Real Green. You are going to be so glad you tuned in. I'm Beth Berry. I'm Vice President of Business Development for Real Green. We are a software company based in Walled Lake, and we serve the green industry. I am broadcasting live today from a very cloudy Indianapolis, Indiana. And the first guest we're going to talk to is Mike Carden. Mike, you have been with Real Green for quite some time, and you have arguably one of the most difficult jobs at Real Green as product manager of our Service Assistant 5 product. How long have you been with Real Green? And tell us what you do on a daily basis before we launch into our big champagne popping news today.
Awesome. Thanks, Beth. Thanks for having me. I'm Mike Carden. I've been with Real Green since 2010, just past my 10-year anniversary. So started in tech support actually under the great Peter Brown and Joe Wilson, and worked in support for a few years, doing trainings and on-site installs. Obviously, way pre-COVID, where we go on site and train our new users. Transitioned to a little bit more of a sort of liaison role with some of our franchise groups, and helped manage some of our QA efforts. As we got more launched SA5, we got a little bit more disciplined in the QA process. And then last year came on when we set up our product team under Caitlin Pomeroy and joined the product team. So really enjoyed it. It's been a thrill. It's been awesome helping chart the course of Service Assistant and what the future looks like, and working with Elizabeth, who's a great product owner, and just going through and again charting the course of what the future looks like for Service Assistant. So, day in and day out, it's every day is an adventure, really, helping manage the product from, every sort of conceptual thought we have down through release, integrations being part of that, which is why obviously Bryan's here today. But, a lot of action every day. Love talking with our customers. Hearing what business problems they have, and ultimately looking for ways to solve that and get them the most value out of our platform.
No 2 days are ever alike, are they?
No, not at all. No, every day is a bit different, and lots of fun, interesting, and cool challenges. So.
Well, I've enjoyed working with you this year. Bill Noonan announced at our user conference solutions in January, when we were in Nashville, before we all went into timeout and got grounded, that we would be building partnerships with external technology vendors to better serve our customers. And so there's still been some gray area. I will have customers ask me, texting, we all need it. There's no denying it is the way to go. Why hasn't Real Green built this out? Well, the short answer is we absolutely could have. LawnBot, we partnered with Kendall Hines earlier in the spring. We could have built a sales bot. The question becomes, what should you build and what should you partner with? And under Bill Noonan's leadership, and certainly Caitlin Pomeroy's product development leadership, we have become very disciplined in terms of this is what we will keep on our roadmap, and this is what we will partner with. So today, I'm so excited to introduce our texting partner. When we sought out texting partners, Mike and I and the rest of the guys on the team in January, February, March, we were led through product demos with 4 or 5 of the top texting platforms in the United States. So think of the biggest that's affiliated with Google and other variations. And it was very important to us at Real Green that when we offer you a partner solution, it really is best in class, has to be reliable, the innovation has to be there, and the return on investment. So we wanted a partner that we knew the price point was dead on as well. We also needed to know it is going to seamlessly integrate with Service Assistant, and that's what Mike and his team do. So I'd like to introduce our newest partner, Bryan Anderson, the founder of Captivated. Bryan is from my home state, my hometown of Indianapolis. I didn't know that when we were going through the demos. And in fact, his office is in the parking lot of my Lifetime Fitness. And if it weren't 2020, we would have already had a beer or two on a golf course. So Bryan, welcome to today's Facebook Live. And we are thrilled to have you as part of the Real Green family. Tell us about you, I love your background before Captivated. I think that's important for our customers. And tell us what your solution has to offer before we launch into the demo.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for hosting, and thanks for the kind introduction. So just a little bit about myself, technology kind of freak, started a CRM company very much like Real Green in 1988. And we sold primarily to auto dealers nationwide. For about 20 years, I had that company, sold it in 2007. During that course of time, we probably sent out 100 million emails and queued up that many phone calls on behalf of about 2,000 auto dealers around the country. Fast forward to 2012, I was helping somebody in their call center and just recognized that email and voicemail alone, and a lot of voicemails being left because people aren't picking up their phone, that we just needed another channel. And so came away from that meeting with the concept of business texting, and started building that and launched it officially in 2015. We did some pilots in 2014, but we really thought that the play is not just announcements. Everybody was used to short codes and sending out one-way text, but we really needed two-way conversations going on. And most importantly, we do it over your business phone numbers, so there's no confusion on the customer's behalf. So every one of the Real Green users, they have thousands of customers in their database. They get thousands of or hundreds of prospects in a year. And the nice thing is now the call to action can be, you can call or text our business number. And when they, of course, when they text, it comes into our system and can be routed to the right queue. It behaves very much like a phone system, which I'll go through here in a minute. But we're excited. The Real Green phase one of the integration was awesome. Working with Mike's team was fantastic, and I think we solved a couple of the real big needs right away, which is obviously to call aheads, to be able to text those and then automatically show which ones didn't receive it. Like maybe it was not a mobile number that we had in the system, and then so you can, if you had 120 call aheads and 5 of them failed, you could still call the 5, but we handled the 115. So that is very important. And then being able to, from within Real Green, to leverage our browser extension to quickly connect with a customer, whether it be for receivables issues or just to handle a customer support issue. We're going to show you a little bit of what Captivate is all about. We serve many industries, but a lot of home service companies, because people, the call, when you call a business these days, sometimes that experience is not great. And I think we all wish, and Beth, I think we all would wish that we could call some businesses, right? Every time we call, it's press 1 for this, press 2 for that. Not all of them are live answer, a lot of hold time. So it's our goal is to make that customer experience great and drive loyalty, create raving fans for Real Green customers. So we're excited to share and show the application, and we'll go from there. Does that sound good?
That sounds good. And while you should have access to the screen, while you do that, I want to call out one really important point that you made. When I was the director of customer service at Scott's Miracle-Gro, and I would say even through 2012 and 2013, where texting was quite commonplace. It wasn't obviously integrated into Service Assistant, but we would have customers who would ask us when the technician arrives, again, this is 7 years ago, can you please text us? And we would discourage that because if that technician wasn't there next week, now they have that phone number. And guess what a lot of those technicians do? They start their own business. And so we actually forbid our technicians to use text. Can you imagine? We were the #2 green industry company in the world, and we would forbid our technicians to use texting. So, and I've heard pushback from some of our clients that we really don't want technicians using their own phone. So you have solved one of the first blockers right out of the gate.
Right. Yeah, whether you use our click to call feature or our texting app, all text messages come from the business phone numbers. Whether you have 1, 2, if you have multiple offices, you can obviously text enable all of them. Let me go ahead and, am I sharing my screen?
You are.
Okay. So just a very quick overview, and we're going to go, by the way, I mentioned that company, I just brought it up because of what we used to do a lot of. And we built this alternative. It's a real-time authentic application. There's a lot of automated technology, but we really believe in real conversations, real fast. It works in a browser, iOS and Android. We recommend Chrome because it works nicely with, we have a extension that works great within SA5. It's frictionless for the customers. Again, they just get to text you no different than they text their friends. After hours, it'll auto reply saying, thanks for reaching us. We'll get back to you first thing in the morning, or whatever you want that auto reply to say after hours. If you're in snow country like us and you have a blizzard and the office is closed, you could handle that an after hours message remotely, or you could have close the queue and say, hey, because the weather, we're closed today, we look forward to getting back to you shortly, right? So you can do things very similar to a phone system. Obviously the benefits to the customers, speed, convenience, clarity, everything's in writing. If you need approval on a job or approval to do something, it's there permanently. They can't, even if the customer deletes the text thread, you have it stored permanently. You can resend it to the customer. Hey, here's where you approved that oversee job or whatever, right? So you can do things like that. And when messages come into the system, they can get routed based on keywords. They can literally emulate an auto attendant. So if you had press 1 for sales, 2 for customer service, we literally can emulate that via text. And you can also hand customers off to the right person. If you needed a technician to take a video or do a video chat with the client because they were concerned about a certain area of their lawn, then you could do that. You could hand it off to the technician. They could open it up, they click a link and invite the homeowner to a quick video chat or take a video and tell them what's going on. And then of course, but most importantly, instead of having a bunch of siloed conversations on everyone's personal phone, everything's in one place. So managers can oversee, coach, join conversations. It's really kind of team texting on steroids. We do landline texting. We can connect to Google My Business. We do have a live chat feature that some of your clients use. We have a text us button, which I'm a huge fan of, because once you collect that, especially for new leads, once you collect that new text us, that mobile number, you have the ability to follow up instead of waiting for them to get back to your website. If you have a toll-free number, we can text enable that. We bypass Twitter right now. We do connect to Facebook Messenger if you want. And we're adding Apple Business Chat, probably Q1 of this year. So again, call to action, instead of call, we recommend that you say text or call, or to better serve you, you can now text us. Here are a couple examples. One of my favorites there, even to handle customer beefs. If customers got an issue, you can say, hey, if you have any concerns, you can call or text us. Again, text is just, it's there, it's documented. You can automatically hand it off to a manager to get back with somebody very quickly. Schedule a phone call if you'd like. There's a couple more examples. We have one customer on the lower right that actually put us in a Google ad. Text us now for more information. Some features that are baked in, and you'll see these on our website, but we handle compliance very well. It's important to note that there are really two types of text messages according to TCPA guidelines. There's transactional texts, which are, hey, we're going to be there tomorrow to service you, or appointment reminders, et cetera. But marketing text, you really need an opt-in on file to do it appropriately. We handle all the opt-in, all the opt-out. The good news is we integrate that and we share that information with SA5. We kind of bake that in. We can, you'll definitely use personalized templates in our system to quickly respond to new leads or clients. We do have, again, as I mentioned, that click to call feature. One thing to note too, in Q1, a lot of your customers that have maybe a small voice over IP system or an old landline, we are coming out with some voice over IP phone technology in Q1 of 2021. So Captivated, in effect, will be a great small business phone system. Inline notes, we're going to show you that. We're going to show you how you can schedule messages and tasks. If a customer says, hey, I'm gone this week, can you get back to me next week about that proposal? You can schedule that. You can automatically send a message. You can, again, we'll show you the text us live chat widget. Customizable tags just allow you to sort your database by maybe the type of service that you give people, that you provide for people. You can, if we ever start going on vacation again, you could forward conversations. If somebody you've been in conversation with reaches out to you, and you're on vacation, you can forward it to a queue or another person. You can ask your, some of you have huge databases, right? 10, 20,000 people. You could shoot them an email if you want them to register for updates or marketing, specials or anything like that. You can send a link and said, hey, great news, click here to register to enroll in our text updates. Keyword actions, whether you're hiring or let's say you wanted even a PTO, you need an absentee form filled out by one of your employees in the field. We can manage keyword actions to automatically send forms. We can do surveys. Of course, we can import contacts if necessary out of Real Green, but the integration is such now that you don't have to start there, but you can. Picture and video messaging, I mentioned that. Voice memos, you know how we call people and their voicemail's not set up or it's full. With Captivate, you can text them a voice.
You can never get through to him, but yes, that's good.
You can text a voice memo to somebody. The Chrome extension will show you. With Captivate, you can send any document type. So if you have a statement or let's say it's a tips about drought or a certain type of care or any document that you have on your desktop or on your computer, you can share. There are 4 optional features there in gray: text to pay, the Facebook Messenger, location requests, things that you can optionally use in our system. Just a side note on text to pay, and I think Mike and I talked about this earlier this week about the importance of maybe adding that integration. Is the benefit is obviously contactless payment and kind of a nice way to remind somebody, hey, here's the outstanding balance due, click here to pay. Since March of this year, I think our customers nationwide have requested over $50 million in payments because of obviously contactless payment and COVID. We have announcements, we'll talk about that. Team chat, if you want to send a message out to all the techs in the field or the office staff, you can kind of create announcements or have an internal real chat. We do collect Google reviews. If you like, we have a new feature called booking and scheduling, which allows great for your sales team. And then we can even build out automated workflows. So there's quite a lot to cover. From a cases and best practices for Real Green users, obviously we can really help with web lead conversion. I'm a huge fan of text before calling. Just a quick text, and you'll see this template that says, hey, Brian, do you have a moment for a quick call to discuss fill in the blank, right? And if I text them first, number one, it's coming from your business number. Number two, they're going to say, now's not a good time. Can you call me at 2? And great, then you can schedule it. And then you have a template that says, hey, is now a good time for that call? They say yes, you give them a call. You're wasting a lot of time leaving voicemail that sometimes takes 8 hours or a whole day to get listened to. So we're a big fan of leading with a text. Of course, any report list, you can text variable data, and we'll talk about that as well. Daily call aheads become text aheads. Prospect follow-up it's wonderful. We use our own software, so I'm familiar with that. Definitely leverage videos and photos and video chat within our system to keep homeowners updated. The team chat I mentioned. So seasonal tips, and most importantly, you're just giving your customers an option. Hey, not everybody's forced. You're not forcing people to text you, but no longer are you forcing people to call you. Now they can text or call. Definitely helps with receivables. And then we'll show you the booking and scheduling and workflows and some of the keyword forms. The one other thing, you can do things like this, kind of home QR codes, right? So when you go to a home show, you can have people register when they come to your booth, automatically kind of text in and capture and get them as an opt-in so you can follow up and prospects. Once we start going to those again, hopefully a lot.
One question, Brian, and it's really for Mike Carden. So where you say text to any Real Green report list, Mike, what is a use case for that? That's pretty exciting.
Sure. So any report that outlines customer information, right? Like an unserviced list, lead status report, anything that shows customer information. You can basically take the customers on that list and send out a templated text message using the Captivated API integration. So great use case would absolutely and obviously be the pre-service notifications, right? Hey, we're gonna be out to service tomorrow. Recommend using the unserviced list, probably filtering that by a certain call ahead reason. If you've been doing any texting before, you probably have a call ahead reason that you already use for text ahead, and then basically using your template messages and get started.
That's unbelievable. Okay, Bryan, you may resume.
No problem. You can see what you see here is our desktop app. And in fact, Kim, one of your nice users texted in and they were on our Facebook page instead of yours. So I could respond to Kim right here or to Kim right here and say, Kim, it is on the Real RG Facebook page. No problem. I will send the info. You say, wait a minute, I don't want to type this all the time when leads come in, so you can save it as a template on the fly. So whenever your staff, your office staff, or your team, we even have a template. Let's say a salesperson or a tech needs to meet a homeowner, and we have a template that says minutes away. They just click minutes away, and it automatically, they just type in 20 or 15 or whatever, and it texts the customer. We're trying to prevent a lot of typing and keep things controlled and good quality messaging. So we can save this as a template, and we can say RG information, or whatever I want to call it. And then instead of Kim, I'm going to say salutations. So if you're calling on Dr. Smith or anything like that, it'll say, hey, Dr. Smith. And I can save that as a template. And so in the future, if I ever start typing RG info, it'll suggest that template and I can just hit send, right? So what you see is an inbox, and it came in as a sales web lead. Where does that mean? Well, it came in from our website. We have live chat and text us. I closed live chat for now during our demo, so it wouldn't blow up while we were because I get inbound desktop notifications when those come in. And then the text us button, the benefit there is you could drop down, new customer or existing customer. You can drop down and let them pick department if you'd like. It can automatically go to the queue. If you have different services like pests or anything like that, you can create a separate queue for that if you have somebody that manages that for you. But think of a queue as just like a phone queue. You can route it, or you can even have subject matter expert queues. The example I typically give there, if Beth, if you were going to buy a new Corvette from a Chevy dealer and you text in asking about a Corvette, we can recognize that word Corvette and automatically transfer you to the Corvette queue. And one of the 3 Corvette experts will pick it up. They'll get pinged on their phone or their desktop, and they can pick it up. And 2 people can't pick it up, so like answering the phone. Only 1 person on the team is going to pick that up. So it really behaves in an intelligent fashion. So one of the other things that you'll notice whenever we create templates, they're here to use. Here's a sample workflow. Here's a lead that comes in. I can mark it working, hot. Handshake means we sold them, not interested, or I can end the workflow. Workflows are totally customizable. You can have saved filters. Again, we do a lot of different samples, right? Different sample deals that we sell. You have a dashboard that shows the quantity of messages coming in. There you can import, we can get all your contacts. You can have a million templates. Here's where Google reviews can come in. You can adjust your own profile as a user. Put in your mobile number. The customer will never see it, but it allows you to use our click to call feature. You can set up your availability. Again, these are things that just make the system easier to use and much more intelligent. Whenever you need us, just click support, and we use our own system for support. You just talk to us in real time, click support, and start typing, and you're talking to our help desk. Whenever there's something new, what's new, we can click here and there'll be a new release. We can tell you about that. And again, under administration, your team can go create teams. They can create channels, add users, queues, keyword actions. If somebody were to text the word job, it would automatically send them a job application, things like that, right? We're not going to go into that much detail right now. But one thing that's really important, and I'll just show you, whenever you want to send a text from Captivated, you can just click the green button, or when you're in SA5, you can leverage our let's pretend I'm in our SA5 here. When I'm on Bryan Anderson's record in SA5, it'll automatically pull me up here, and I could, send a new message, and I could say, hi, Bryan, and hit send. The one other cool feature that we have is we have the ability to send contact cards. We think of business cards, we think of attach a contact card. I think it's really important, especially for referral purposes, make sure that your business shares your business card and it gets it in that person's phone. So when they said, hey, who takes care of your lawn, they can share it with a friend or a coworker, family member, so they know that they can call or text your business. So it's really, really great that we push that contact card in. That also helps when you make an outbound phone call, they recognize the number versus the old unknown number. And now, of course, you guys know that on iPhones anyway, and I think Android has the option as well, you can automatically send unknown numbers to voicemail, which certainly doesn't help communication. A couple of power features I'm just going to show you. If I needed to get a coworker involved in this, I can say at Maddie, say hi to Bryan. So let's pretend I'm the customer and hit save. It automatically will invite, look at Maddie Ledbetter joined the conversation. See how it automatically added her? When I called it team texting, that's exactly what Captivate is. You can get your entire team involved. The customer doesn't have to text 19 different people on your team. They text one number, and then you can pass it on to the right person at the right time. You see that the stuff in yellow, the customer doesn't see. Those are internal notes. And then, of course, I received that. Now I just got a text message, hi, Bryan, from Maddie. If you ever need to add an attachment from your desktop, you can have attachments. So if there was a tips on anything, right? If you had a PDF or some kind of lawn care tip, here's a sample attachment to send. You can also schedule, and this is one of the best practices that I recommended for your staff. Just use this template called Quick Call. And to me, it's crazy powerful. If I start saying quick call, look at what's the subject. Do you have a moment for a quick call to discuss, your outstanding balance? And hit OK. What's this customer going to say? They're going to say, now's a good time, or can you call me at 2? Right? So there's Mr. Anderson, how it automatically picked up that salutation. And I can go here, okay, they said call me at 2. I could schedule a reminder to call them at 2, or I could even do a template, is now a good time for that call. And I can go ahead and schedule that to go out at 2 o'clock. If I reply yes, we'll just go ahead and put in 2 p.m. It wouldn't let me schedule ahead of time or behind. So if I go ahead and schedule this for 2 o'clock, I can look at that scheduled under my active. No, I want to look at my scheduled items coming up. At 2 o'clock, I'm going to say is now a good time for that call. I can look at, because I'm a supervisor, I'm just not looking at my conversations. I can look at everyone's. Again, I can have all kinds of saved threads there or saved things. But it's really just a simple, this is the top of the inbox. Every day, ideally, this inbox would be empty. We can automatically mark things as time sensitive. If you didn't get back to somebody after X number of hours, we can basically escalate it. So if your office staff didn't respond in X amount of time to a client, and based on keyword or the word unhappy or anything like that, we can automatically tag these things and create labels. So it's, again, crazy powerful based on your business. So now at 2 o'clock, I'm going to get that message automatically go out. So here's some of the power features that we're not going to cover in too much detail, but I can invite to a video chat. What's great about this is the client, your customers, they click, there's no downloading Zoom or anything like that. They just take their phone, they might be in their yard looking at something, you send them the link, they hit allow to their mic and allow to their camera, they can flip the camera around and say, hey, Bryan, here's what I'm concerned about. Is there any way we can take care of this? Is this dollar spot, right? But you're saving a trip out there. It's a quick way and a professional way to connect with your clients, right from any computer that has a camera and a mic, or from our mobile app. You can request contact exchange. That's a great feature to push your business card to somebody. If you meet somebody at lunch, you can push them your business card and it'll collect their information. It'll even collect their opt-in, which is great at the same time. You can request Google reviews, appointments. This is a brand new feature. So I can have different types of appointments. And this can be keyword, right? So I could, if somebody needed an appointment with me, I could send them a link. And I'll, instead of filling it out on my phone, this is what it would look like. And this is all, by the way, it's all branded for your business. So you could have different types of appointments. You might have one that says on-site estimate, right? Or you might have one that says a quick call or a discovery call. So you could let people pick the types of appointments they have, and then they can, I'll go ahead and pick a date and a time. And by the way, this integrates with Google and Outlook calendars. So it's only allowing for times based on the resources calendars. If you have a sales team of 2 or 3 people, you can create prioritization, you can create round robin, you can do all kinds of cool things. But I can hit continue, and then it automatically, because we have this information filled in, I can put in the business website number, or it's Captivated, that works. These can be mandatory fields. You can ask any kinds of questions that you'd like. Tell us more about your goals, or, again, this could be a checklist, whatever you want for the homeowner to fill in. Then you hit continue and book it. What's nice about that is now look at that just came back in and it's stored right in here, appointment booked. Sales demo with Bryan at October 30th at 2 o'clock. And it'll give you that extra information that we collected. So if you had more information on your booking forms, you would collect more information. That is a brand new module that we just released as an option. So it's pretty powerful. Beth, I could go in so much detail about the video chat, about some of these other features.
My head is.
I do want to cover one thing. If you do want to, like if I wanted to reach everybody in the Indy office, I could send it as an announcement. I could send it as we could put in here Thanksgiving coverage. I could put sample and then just compose the message. I could add an attachment. I could do whatever. And I could start typing sample group conversation and hit send. And then you'll see people on our team start talking about this conversation when other people join, right? So you can see people jump in and start talking. And so it's just a simple way. Look at, we can go to the topic Thanksgiving coverage. So it's an internal chat. You could also send it as a one way. You don't want anybody to respond. Whenever you're in a conversation like this, you can mute it so you don't get, your phone doesn't blow up. So now we can go here too, and we can send a group announcement to all your customers based on tag. My guess is most of the time you guys are gonna be sending this right out of Real Green. The primary benefit of sending them through with our API is now you have even though it's sent through Real Green, we store it right here. So now if somebody responds to a Real Green service notification or whatever, now we can respond in line. It's going to go to a queue. Somebody's going to respond based on who's got coverage on the queue. By the way, when I talk about queues, it's important to note that when you go to, let's just go to our sales queue as an example. So our sales queue, and I can look at the details. You can set up the operators that you want, and if they have preview mode on. If you need to manually close the queue because of weather or whatever, you can do that. By the way, you can also use Captivated for internal announcements when you have a weather day or anything like that. It's a great way to communicate with your team. Beth, any questions or anything that you'd like me to cover, or Mike, anything you'd like me to cover other than what I've covered thus far?
Mike, I would love for you to show the SA5 facing piece. You'll have to excuse my dog. That would be great so that they could see what it looks like on that side.
Okay.
Sure, absolutely. Let me share my screen here. All All right, so you should be able to see my Service Assistant 5 homepage. So first thing, we'll cover a little bit about the setup and sort of what's required, and then go through some of the features and functions. So to get started, we've got a new integrations page in parameters. So go to your settings, look for the integration setup. Obviously, you'll need security access to get to this page. So if you haven't done that, grant yourself or your appropriate users security access to view this page. But this is where we're going to store all of our integration partners and some of the parameters and criteria that they require to sort of operate. Collections with APR, automated calling campaigns with TCN, and now our texting providers. We've got Captivated in here. A couple of pieces of information you're going to need that Bryan and his team, as they go through the onboarding, can sort of help you through. They're actually pretty easy to get. Your API key. And that's, you obtain that on the Captivated site under My Profile and Passwords and Credentials. Those can be issued. You're basically going to copy that and just paste it right in here. Important thing to note is that each branch, I've only got one branch in my data here, but every branch can have a separate setup, or you can copy to all branches. So if you are in a multi-branch location, maybe you're sending out your text aheads for tomorrow's service, you can have, different sets of employees, teams and Captivated, that see those messages accordingly. So API key, again, is tied to the Captivated employee, but you get that under My Profile and then Passwords and Credentials. Next piece of required information is obviously the SMS number. So this is the originating number that all text messages, when sent out of Service Assistant in mass, are going to be originating from. Right, so this should mimic what Bryan and his team have set up for you, but it's likely the landline. Again, Bryan talked about basically activating that landline to become textable, which is pretty cool and pretty important. It's
one thing, Mike, to note, I want if everybody to know that it does not require any porting. We get to host just the SMS portion of the number. Doesn't change your phone bill, doesn't change your phone coverage, doesn't change your phone service quality or anything like that. If your phone system goes down for any reason, your SMS will still work. If the power goes out in your office, you can just use our mobile app to respond to people. So you're never really down with Captivated. Even if your computers weren't working, you can just pick up our mobile app and respond there.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for the context there, Bryan. Yep. Yeah. So the SMS number would need to be under there. Again, if it's the same for all branches, you can use the copy. If it's not, you can separate those and sort of build them as necessary. And then a couple of other options down here. We've got an opt-out call status and a call log assigned employee. So any text message that fails, to send, maybe the customer doesn't have a valid seller text number. Maybe they've already opted out. Maybe your template or your API key isn't set up correctly. Any of those sort of failures will create a message in the call log. So you'll see a new call log entry with details, and we'll look at one here shortly, with details about why the message wasn't sent. And so at that point, you could follow up on them accordingly. Would probably recommend you create a new call log status so you can track more sort of seamlessly, Captivated exclusions or Captivated,
yeah,
whatever.
Undelivered, right? Yeah.
Yep. So you'll be able to quickly see that and sort of filter those out in the call log. I wouldn't recommend putting them in as new calls because then you're going to mix them up with the rest of your new calls. And you're going to sort of bomb out your call log there. So yeah, so that's the integration setup. It's a new page in SA. Again, make sure you have security access to access it and configure it. But next sort of piece of criteria is our texting templates. I'm going to minimize this. So we've created a new document template type for texting, and this is where you can create a templated message that Service Assistant uses. Different from the templated messages Bryan sort of set up. Those are sort of tied to the Captivated platform. This is just a message template that you can use when doing your bulk messaging out of Service Assistant. So I'm going to create one. Template type is texting. And obviously make sure that, the branches are configured correctly. If this template should be used in multiple branches, make sure it's configured to do so by selecting any branch, or you can uncheck that and select individual branches. Nice feature is, again, we have our drag and drop fields here that you're probably used to. when doing other sorts of document template types. But we've got, some available data fields that can be dropped, and those will be swapped out with consumer information, going forward as the message is sent. So I'm just going to type something out real fast. Put your number in there, whatever, and then save it. Now that number should match what Captivate set up for you. Obviously, if you're telling them to text, you want them to text that correct number. So now I've got my template message set up. So from there, we talked a little bit about the report exports. And again, any report that returns customer information will now have a new send to option. I just, for the purposes of testing and showing off and demoing, I use the customer flag report because I have 2 customers, myself and my wife, in there with our phone numbers, so we can go ahead and just send it just those customers. But we do have a new send to option over here in Actions. If you've used TCN, another integration, or send to prepay letters, or send to CSV, whatever, you're familiar with these send to options from our reports. Our new option is send to texting. Got a provider, Captivated. Right now, Captivated is the only provider we work with in SA. You can choose your template. And now we've got that message, and we've got a replaceable fields. And the nice thing is we can, append or remove, to this message as necessary. And then from there, we would just hit send, and we're ready to go. Couple things to note here. Service Assistant is only going to try to send messages to customers that have either a cell phone number or a text phone number on their profile, right? So if you look at a customer record. Yep.
I was going to say, some of our customers have the cell number, but it's in the home or business field. Will it recognize that?
It won't. No, we don't want to text home numbers or work numbers, or anything that's going to cause an obvious failure. So yeah, you would have to do a little bit of, data cleanup or data maintenance on that to move those numbers.
And our tech support department can help them with that, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's just, modifying the customer profile to swap the number out. So yeah, perfect. So, make sure that the number is in the text or cell phone field. And those are the numbers that we'll go ahead and attempt to text. So, that's one sort of caveat there. If a customer has already opted out of your messaging by replying stop to the text phone number, Service Assistant, we'll try and send the message, but the Captivated sort of compliance end will prevent that message from being sent out. So we'll go through some of the new options we've added for that, but basically, if someone's already opted out, the message won't be sent to them again. You'll get a call log entry that says, this customer's already opted out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just hit send. Again, Bryan talked about the importance of, the 2 types of messaging, transactional versus just flat out sales message. Would definitely recommend to keep those, in mind as you're sending your messages from Service Assistant. Make sure your messages are TCPA compliant, and you're primarily doing, transactional messaging. Some good use cases we've already talked about sort of at length. The would-be call aheads, now becoming text aheads. Would recommend you use your unserviced list for that and send those out from there. Probably using a new call ahead reason that you can create if you haven't done it already for texting. If you're using a lot of condition codes, which you absolutely should be, but if you're not, I absolutely would recommend that you look into that. If your technicians are out and they're recording, condition codes, maybe there's grubs present. Maybe, there's dull mower blades or some bare spots in the lawn, whatever condition codes they're using, you can run the condition code history report and, send out a message to those customers that had that condition code added today or yesterday. By the way, we were on your property yesterday, noticed that there were grubs present. Call or text for more details on a grub control service. So really any sort of, templated message, you can use these report exports.
Mike, one comment on that. Whenever you add, if you were to add a call to action there. You know, we noticed this. If you'd like some assistance or feedback on that, or tips on handling that, then we can, if there's a keyword says reply with, you know, grubs, the word grubs or anything like that, right? Then we can automatically then send out, we can create keyword automation or slide it over to, you know, even invite a specific user on the Captivated side into that conversation so they can get it tackled right away.
Absolutely. Yep. Great call out.
Yep.
We look at this, you know, success message. So we tried to send 2 messages. We sent 2 successful. You'd have an unsuccessful count. And again, those are going to be folks that have opted out, you know, invalid phone numbers, you know, invalid, no text or cell phone number. There's something with your configuration. Maybe you didn't put the API key in. Maybe you don't have a template that's available for that branch. Pretty detailed in the call log entries that you're going to see in Service Assistant, and I'll show you one here shortly. We talked a little bit about, you know, handling those don't texts, and if a customer, you know, texts back stop to opt out, we will update in a customer record. Let me show you under contact. We've got the don't text option here, so that'll be updated automatically. By default, no one's going to have that turned on, but any of the opt-outs will then turn that setting on, and those can then be ignored when you're using your advanced options, your contact preferences. You know, you can scroll down to the text message and say, you know, we only want to send this to allowed customers.
So hey, Mike, quick question for you. If
yes,
one of our companies is signing up a new lawn care service with a consumer, could they ask them that at the time of sale and then make that change then? Some customers are automatically saying, don't call, don't text.
Yeah, I mean, you could absolutely ask, you know, can you be texted? We have your, you know, permission to text or whatever, you know, sort of legalese you want to use, or you know, I'm sure you'll say it much more gracefully than I just did. But yeah, this option can be turned on or off.
Got it.
You know, it one off, or you know, via, if they say stop, it'll be turned off automatically.
Wonderful.
Beth,
so
we do have some customers that will actually, almost like you know, when you go to a doctor's office and they have you check the box at or the disclaimer down below, it says you agree to receive text messages from regarding that business. And so you can, if there are sales forms or anything that the customer is signing, or a digital form that we create or anything like that, we can create opt-in language on what I'd call hard forms, or on sign-up forms.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep.
Just one more thing to note here before we move on to the browser extension. You know, you've got basically the failed message here, using the settings that I just showed you in the integration setup. Assigned to this employee in this call log status. An error is occurred while attempting to send a text message to this customer. My branch didn't have an API key. Okay, so there's quite a bit of detail here with the message, the phone number, so on and so forth. So again, any of those failures will be recorded in the call log. That way you can follow up with them. As Brian alluded to, if you're sending out, you know, 50 text aheads and 48 of them go through fine, you want to be able to reference and call the other 2 customers. So you can do that with the call log, and just make sure you're monitoring your call log accordingly. You know, one of the great features that we really liked about Captivated was the browser extension and being able to text customers, you know, just right from their customer screen. So there's a browser extension here. If I pull up my customer account, I can now see the message that was just sent, as well as all the other history that's been sent. So this is basically, you know, the Captivated platform sort of slimmed down in a browser extension. This allows us to do all those things that Brian showed, just scheduling the text messaging for a different date or time, adding additional you know, employees into the conversation, and can really just, you know, start firing off messages from here. You know, you'll see if the conversation's open, you'll see the responses come in, you know, from there. And you'll also see them, you know, if you're in the Captivated platform. I mean, that's the real power of the integration, is you'll see all of these, you know, interactions inside the Captivated platform, which Brian just showed off, and get those notifications as well. So again, you can text a customer directly from their customer screen. If they've opted out, you won't have this option. Basically, they'll need to send a message back to opt back in, and you're good to go. Some other things you can do from the browser extension that I thought were pretty useful. You can opt someone out right here, just by selecting this opt out button. You've got the SMS verified, so we know that this is a verified SMS number. Nice thing is with the Captivated integration, I'm on my local version of SA, but if you're coming from our service assistant domain, this browser extension works a bit more seamlessly. It's only looking for one of the 6 phone numbers in here in the customer screen. So, Beth, to your point, even if you didn't have your phone numbers completely configured correctly in the right field, the browser extension will still look through all 6 of them. It's just the mass sort of bulk messaging, wherein we'll only look at the seller text number.
Mike, if you do not have Captivated, we have very limited texting capabilities right now in our ecosystem. What could you do if you weren't using Captivated?
Really sort of the light text messaging we did was before service texting from the AMA product, which still exists. It's fine. It works great. The great thing there is, it's automated, and there's a number of configurations you can set up. But, by and large, a lot of feedback regarding, a true two-way communication with customers, right? And enabling that two-way communication. That's what this integration unlocks.
That's what they've been asking for.
Yes, I'm sure you've heard it quite a bit as well, Beth, and a great customer suggestion that we're pretty pleased to be able to execute on. So,
speaking of our customers, Bryan, you already serve some Real Green customers. Off the top of your head, do you know who those are?
Sure. Can I share my screen? I got a couple.
Mike, were you finished here? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I am all done.
All right.
I just saved a few to my desktop. So here, it's like here's Best Lawn Care. They've got a live chat and text us button. I think that's been
our
Ben?
friend Ben Molitor. Yep.
Yep. Emerald. That's one of our old text us buttons here for leads. Elements. So you can do, again, you can, this is pretty customizable if you want drop downs based on departments, but just a great lead source. Also, if you look on our website on a blog here, if you go to our blog, I think we just released a blog with that's worth a quick read if you'd like.
That's excellent.
Yep. So it's just again, what's great about our relationship, and we're always going to look for ways and understand best practices and help with templates and with workflows to try to create a great experience for not just your customers but your users, right? The team, whether it's the tech team or the technicians in the field or your internal staff. But again, it's a strong product, and it only gets stronger the more customers we serve. We probably have a dozen or two. The one thing too I do want to share very quickly is this, and for anybody who needs more information, you can text Facebook. Wait, let me make sure I'm sharing this. Hold on. Share screen, share desktop. There we go. So if you text the word Facebook RG to this number, you'll get a copy of today's presentation. You'll get an 8-minute video, which is kind of an overview, and then a link for detailed pricing. So really the call to action right now for those on Facebook right now, if you want to text that number, you can, or you can reach out to your Real Green rep. They have this information as well.
That's excellent. I was getting ready to follow up with those closing comments. Just give us an idea, Bryan, on pricing. Where does the Real Green price point start?
It's $128 per month for our basic plan for up to 15 users. I think we include, because all of our plans are metered, unfortunately the carriers don't let us send a million messages for nothing. So every plan gets customized based on the size of your database. You can also boost the users. You can add Google reviews. You can add different features, but we have a works plan. If you want to add that, it's $20 to add the appointment booking, for example, for your sales team. It's not a lot. The nice thing about the way we're month-to-month service, there's no long-term contract. It takes us usually a day to get you set up, if that. And again, there's no porting of your number. It's just a letter of authorization for us to host your SMS traffic on your business number. And so again, the plans start at $128. And the nice thing is, in the off season, you don't need to boost your plan or add features. If you want to try a feature for a month for free, whenever we release new stuff, we're pretty good about that. Our goal is just to kind of help you build this thing so it fits every operation is unique, and we try to make sure it fits like a glove.
That's the price of a branch pizza party, Bryan. That's nothing. One last question, then we're going to wrap up. So I am going to be a raving fan. I'm going to text Facebook RG to this number. I'm going to look at the presentation. I'm going to see the 8-minute video. We're going to sign up immediately. What are your recommendations? And Mike Carden, you can pitch in here in terms of beginning full-scale campaigns. Do you have to reach out to your customers first to get them to opt in? I know that the regulatory compliance is on your side, but what's the best way to launch this in earnest?
Yeah, so provided you're not marketing, if it is part of a transactional or office hours, or even if it's hey, great news, to better serve you, our valued customers, we've text enabled our business landline or our business line. If you have any questions, text us back, we can include then a link for them to register, very much like I included a link when people text Facebook RG, it'll automatically create enrollment, if you will, or registration. So we can help with that. We can also create a special link or a custom link for to be emailed to. So if you have a database of 5,000 people and you want to email them, again, a simple message like, hey, great news. We've text enabled our business number to better serve you, so you can choose to call or text. Click here to register. And our system does a nice job, by the way, of, as Mike showed you, of doing an SMS lookup to make sure that the number that they actually put in is text capable. So we handle, because we do medical and we do heavy retail like car dealers and big appliance places, we have to do a really good job of the compliance. So our system handles compliance better than anyone.
That is fantastic. I can't thank you guys enough for today's announcement. I really am going to pop this champagne bottle, but it's so sad to drink alone. So hopefully one day soon we'll be able to do that. This is really great news for Real Green customers. Mike Carden, you and your team have worked your tails off to bring this to fruition. And Bryan, we couldn't have selected a better partner, and you're a fellow Hoosier, so not surprising to me.
Oh, thank you so much. We're excited to help, and we've got a great team. People will love our support. So we look forward to helping as many of your clients as necessary.
Wonderful. So the Real Green sales team, they have information, and Bryan, I will post the links to reach out to you directly so that our customers can set up their Captivated account and get going.
Awesome. Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, Beth. Thanks, Bryan.